Welcome back. Another video. You know the drill. Let's get back to reacting.
Terribly disturbing, but putting that aside, the person who appeared in that video shared a lot of similar traits with Carol, such as having the exact same shoes and the exact same sweater. Now the dog that had to be in that video also had the same facial pattern, same white front paws, same white fur on the chest, and same red collar like the dog Coda. It was pretty clear. Years of chat logs that precisely matches with Carol's life, an account that somehow has access to pictures before Carol was able to post them on any of his socials, and a video that showed a person that matches almost identically with Carol himself. Carol was indeed a zoozadis, and probably more. Once the internet gathered all that evidence, it was submitted to the police, but he was never charged. Most likely because bestiality is treated as a minor crime in New York, so you can only take legal actions for up to 2 years after the crime happened, and the proof was submitted after that 2-year time frame. So legally, there was nothing that could punish him. Now, Carol is still certain that he's innocent, and even made a couple of videos trying to explain that all of this was fake. But of course, after all this evidence surfaced, nobody believed him. But at least some of the other members in that group chat were actually charged, such as somebody with the name of Snake Thing, who I'll also talk about. Shadow Wolf, and he
And we're back.
to properly introduce him, I'll read you his own bio that he made over a decade ago. I'm a 52-year-old furry bisexual, male. Bi. Pretty sure you just said that, but okay. And an active plushie file. But it doesn't stop there. As you may know, there's this fact going around the internet that furries will spend thousands of dollars on their hobby. Well, one of the reasons why is because fursuits go for crazy amounts. Like you could buy a car with that type of money. So some people decide to create their own fursuits instead. Shadow Wolfus, aka William Bill J. Clark, being one of them. But instead of buying new materials, he would use the plushies that he bought to have fun with and cut them up to make his fursuits. And this is how these abominations were created. That is why he's also known as Carpet Sample. They do not just look even more terrifying than their dolphin muzzles, but also smelled worse. This suit is known as the worst and most disgusting fursuit ever created, and that is because he never cleaned the plushies that he had relations with, and so they reeked of urine and other substances that I won't mention. Every person who met him in real life was probably traumatized by that smell. Shadow Wolfus somehow has multiple pets and openly talks about engaging with all of them regularly, like very open. He described in detail what he did to them without any shame whatsoever. He literally admits to getting these pets only for this one reason, and you can kinda tell by the pictures. His place has trash everywhere, like he does not actually care about the health of his pets whatsoever. One of the tamest statements of his is that he hasn't had any relations with a male husky yet, but will soon once he gets one for a pet. That is the tamest, most family-friendly sentence that he wrote. Shadow Wolf has even dedicated his entire job to his hedonistic pleasures, I guess, since he once was a dog walker, and you can kinda guess what happened to these unlucky animals that had to be with him. He wouldn't be a very disturbing individual only towards dogs and the internet though. First, he got banned from multiple conventions because of his behavior. For example, he was once banned from the Method Fur Meet for
Okay, let's be back.
proposing to have relations with another furry called Moonstone Wind and her service dog while alone in an elevator with her. Moonstone Wind must have been absolutely terrified, not only because of his proposal that included her dog, but also probably because of his smell. In general, he would just go up to people and start a conversation about all of the disgusting things he does, like just randomly. Not surprisingly, he also convinced a minor to do stuff for alcohol. But luckily, he hasn't been active in over a decade now. Crowley, or Daniel Mitsuo Lamas, has been in the furry community since 1999. In the year 2000, he met this person online who was really interested in him and his boyfriend at the time, Troy Gate. So interested to the point that he wanted to play with both of them. That person was a minor, and Crowley continually told him that he couldn't do anything with him because of that reason. He was a grown adult after all. The conversation between him and that boy continued through 2001, until about March, when his boyfriend and Growly decided to finally meet up with him. Growly didn't actually want to meet up, but was convinced to do so by both his boyfriend and that other person. So Troy and Daniel booked hotel rooms to stay at, and they actually met that person in real life. It eventually got late, and his boyfriend insisted on staying in the hotel room with that boy they talked to. Growly was actually against that idea because it seemed kinda inappropriate, but he was only 24 at the time and young and impressionable, so he ended up staying there as well, and they all slept in the same hotel room. That's it. At least that's the version that Growly told the public. In reality, Crowley actually sent inappropriate images to that boy, and once they met up, he and his boyfriend actually got caught having relations with him in that hotel room and took photos during the acts. The boy then actually contacted the authorities on June 4th, and when Crowley was just at home with his parents, the police came in and detained him with over 10 charges to his name. He and his boyfriend first denied all of the allegations, but eventually pleaded guilty after months of trying to get a better deal and negotiating. So he served 2 years of a 3-year sentence and became a registered offender for life. It doesn't end there though. When does it ever, right? After being released and finishing his parole, he would be caught again talking to a 16-year-old on Fur Affinity. The 16-year-old talks about being able to do something because of yoga, and I think I sadly know what he's talking.
I can't believe this. So you see, this video right here. No, not that one. This one, that video right there, that they were playing at. I somehow am able to upload it. I'm shocked. Well, time to get back to it.
Not gonna say it out loud. If you know, you know. He then elaborated that he can't show Growly because he's shy, and if word got out, the FBI would be after. Growly, of course, responds with, he won't report him if he's not of age yet. Spiral Wolf then suggests that he should do yoga too, so he'll be able to do the same thing. And Growly ends the conversation with, you can show me. I won't tell, XD. He really did not take any breaks after being released from prison, because after that conversation got leaked, the internet did just a bit more digging, and they actually found a few other chat logs between Daniel and another guy who wasn't of age either, Growly being 33 at the time, and the other person 17. Again, I will not go into detail what they actually talk about, but they basically both describe what they would do if they met up and stuff. Imagine like 50 Shades of Grey, but even worse and even more weird. These attempts to do stuff with guys that were literally half his age unfortunately would go unpunished. But the universe did its thing on July 10th, 2019, where he would be charged with possessions of movies that included children. And I'm not talking about Toy Stories. But he was somehow actually released on September 26th, which is crazy. Only a couple of months for literally owning the most deprived videos imaginable. Now, all of that did result in him getting banned from a couple of furry conventions, such as Anthem Northwest 2017, but he's still welcome to attend most of the other conventions, even though almost the entire furry community is very much against him going on any conventions at all anymore. He also beefed with a lot of people on Twitter who exposed his past, saying that he's a changed person now and stuff, which I don't know if that's how it works. Can somebody like him really just change? But his account is now private. Lockjaw Arts was a company run by Blackcraft Witch, aka Tanya R. Dillard, and their partner Jax Luna, aka Jacob Berkowitz. And similar to DHC, they made fursuits. Now, even though the Lockjaw Arts account was kind of, a company social media account, they didn't only talk about their product, but shared very intimate details about themselves as well, like how they struggled with mental health, depression, and stuff like that. These personal issues caused a lot of delays for the customer, because they might have promised to have a fursuit made until this date, but because of their personal struggles, they weren't able to fulfill the order. And if that happens enough times, business will obviously suffer, because people will lose trust in your company and brand. And that was most likely the case, which resulted in serious financial struggles for them. And safe to say, mental health problems and money struggles are a dangerous combination. In March of 2020, Tanya and Jacob concocted a plan to make some quick cash to get out of this tricky situation they're in. They created a dating ad on Craigslist, which is apparently a thing, I don't know. And Hector Hernandez actually responded. It was definitely some trio lobby kind of ad, because on March 27th, Hector picked both of them up and took them to his residence. Now, unfortunately, instead of doing what they actually promised in the ad, they robbed him instead and pew-pewed him 4 times, and then stabbed him another 25 times at least, until he passed away in his own bathroom. Now, after robbing him, first thing you gotta do is obviously phone a friend and snitch on yourself. And yes, Tanya did exactly that. She called her friend Paige and first told her that she and her boyfriend had taken a dog's life and skinned it, which was obviously very shocking to hear. But Tanya responded to her disturbed reaction with, if you think that is strange, I'm sitting next to a not so alive person, and then sent Paige a picture of Hector. And this is where Paige actually drew the line and decided to report the incident to the police. They immediately set up surveillance at Hector's residence and observed.
I might get off Oh no.
The couple. Now, their initial plan was to rob him, take his car, and go live in the woods for the rest of their lives. So they eventually decided to execute the second part of the plan and left the house with his Mercedes. To be honest, I don't know why the police just didn't take action immediately, but both Tanya and Jacob would actually be detained after a traffic stop, where they admitted to everything. During the interrogation or interview, Tanya actually told a different story of why they took Hector's life. She explained that they made an ad asking to be driven somewhere, but Hector actually touched Tanya's leg and tried to kiss them, and so Jacob hit him in the spur of the moment. But Jacob just flat out admitted that it was a planned attack, so they were both charged with 4 felony counts, but I couldn't find anywhere how many years they actually got. If you've paid attention to the Carol the Wolf story, you'll have seen the username Snake Thing pop up a couple of times. Well, he is arguably worse than Carol, by far. His real name is Levi Dane Simmons, and he was born on December 20th, 1994. He already got into the whole zoo thing from an early age. His
Okay.
first encounter was when he was around 8 or 9. One day he was just home alone
I
and
might end this
decided for
video if it
whatever
gets to
reason
it.
to bend over in front of the family
When
dog
I
at the time.
first
A
got
similar thing
really.
to the peanut butter incident that happened. The people around him were also already cautious of him. For example, he was once kicked off of the school bus because he did inappropriate things to his classmates. This sentence sums it up perfectly. He's had problems for a long time. Skipping a few years, when he was in the middle of puberty,
Okay,
he was
that's
already
it,
getting
guys.
into the more
Bye.
hardcore.
That looks like it's all for today. It's getting dark and I think it's nighttime, so this has been a daily night upload for y'all, and I'm kind of getting tired, so